professionalinvestor.com's daily brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Insanity. 9:05 on the West Coast here for the 19th of September, 2023. So we're better working our way through the better part of the month of September. And actually been a really kind of screwy trading environment over the past couple of weeks. Really haven't taken too many trades. I did buy a couple stocks for my registered account, of which both kind of crapped out here. So not really looking too brilliant on that front. And I just haven't really been taking many day trades. So I don't know whether I can really add a heck of a lot to the equation right now for you guys, but I'll try my best. That's all we can do, right? Today is Tuesday, where Tuesdays we have TRI CTO Sjord on the call for our after party. I think I've been tooting Sjord's horn. Well, I've been tooting something of Sjord's. I think it was his horn. But got to give him shout outs, and hopefully in the after party he'll talk to us lots about this. Really nice idea of Sjord's here recently. We did have a trade setup that I outlined on Coinigy recently for all the traders, and be sure to tune into that show on Wednesdays. It's free. Guess we'll be doing one tomorrow night. But Sjord actually brought this to everybody's attention back down in here. I did a little bit of nibbling for the little old lady portfolio. Probably could have bought some more, but yeah, I'm fine with the bag that I've got. I'll be looking to sell halves on doubles on A, B, C, D objectives up top here. But maybe Sjord in the after party, I'll talk a little bit about what's going on with this name, why it's moving up, and what his plan is going forward with TRI's big bag. Did notice a fair amount of green on the screen here today in crypto. I suppose this is a function of yesterday, and actually I did see in the lounge, I should probably even tweet this out. But yesterday, or maybe it was the day before yesterday, I can't remember. But there was rumors that the SEC wanted to literally get judges and stuff to put the kibosh on Bitcoin and Binance and all that kind of crap again. And somebody actually posted out here, and I probably should just respond to the tweet that I put out yesterday that, all right, well, looks like we dodged a bullet there. So I had even put this tweet out yesterday. I thought CZ ran over to China and wanted to hide behind their Great Wall. And maybe what this is really somebody in the US wanted to make sure that Bitcoin didn't really go anywhere in particular. And so they injected a bunch of FUD into the equation. And now we can even say something like FUD indeed. Because it turns out that I don't know whether it was a judge or who it was, but basically put the kibosh on all that SEC probes of Binance US and all that. So as a result, I think that's half the reason why we've had this violent reversal back to the upside. And actually, you don't even really see it on this time frame. That's a 4-hour chart, but like something like a lower time frame, a 30-minute chart. Hey, actually, we have Sjord on the call here today, so hopefully he'll talk a little bit about how algo development and all that kind of stuff is going. But as you can see, we actually had the algo get us good to go long. We have a fun little $2,500 here account that we're using as sort of our test base for the algo signal. So it had us go along here. So yeah, higher highs and higher lows. I don't know if it's a good idea to get too uber bullish here in the face of the Fed meeting today and tomorrow. If anything, to be honest with you, I don't know whether I even really like seeing as much green in the crypto universe as I do right now. Because that could translate into a buy the rumor. Everybody's buying crypto up and we're all going to get rich going long. And then the Fed comes out and they do their thing and we get to sell the news and the whole damn market rolls over. So we will see how that plays out, of course, over the next day or two. Demonstrator of best practices is a little bit slow this morning. Man, I've been having the weirdest sleep schedule. Like was like literally up at like 3:30, 4 o'clock this morning, all wide awake, which means I'm probably going to collapse after I have to do a level 3 class here after we're done the daily brief here this morning. So, Jesus, my Tuesday is going to be a weird day here today. But anyway, computers acting pretty good. Diet and exercise, can't complain. Actually cooked a nice roast last night. So, theoretically, my tummy should be happy and nutrition and all that. But my sleep schedule is just really, really bizarre right now. Anyway, that's here nor there. So first thing out of the gate, what's sort of happening over in Europe, getting ready for the American session here today. Energy prices have just been absolutely relentless here of late, and that's half the reason why I haven't really been day trading too much, because my trading plan specifically for this top step combine is to trade against 4-hour horizontal support and resistance levels and confluence of levels. I did have an ATR script level pop up here this morning, and for the purposes of demonstration, actually did take a sim trade on this trading platform here. Shorted the ATR level there, nice little inside bar reversal. And it did translate into a really nice win. But the problem is that if there is a problem, is that my trading plan specifically says, hunt location. And then at this point, we want to see indicator confirmation, signs of divergence in the marketplace. No, actually, interesting. Look at that. It's stalled out here. Maybe I have to refresh this. Hold on a second. And I didn't get any signs of divergence up here. As you could see, it was just straight line up. What I really want to see is like an M top. And maybe something along these lines. Like I think you classically call it like an Adam and an Eve. So a V top and then go back up and test the highs, and you get a bunch of divergence messages up in here. Oh, interesting. So at this point on this move here, we're now starting to get the divergent messages. This is a 4-hour chart. I've got 1 confirmed and 7 potential. So what I would prefer to see is like, 4, 5, 6, 7 confirmed divergences. And if we look at the momentum indicator, you can see, yes, Willie is stupid. You can see that MACD hasn't, well, there's a little bit of a div that's come in here over the past little bit. But that's starting this process. Volume's still very strong, so not really doing much there. And of course, like I said, I mean, ideally, this is what I want to see is a nice little M against previous high. So I've been just nice and patient, but for the sim, just because I like to keep myself busy, it's not part of this combine trading plan, so I didn't take it with combine money, that top step account. But as you can see here, came in on that ATR level, hit it, and took a nice, it's about 30, 40 ticks from the market. So it was a nice way to pad the sim account for whatever it's worth. Then I've just been sort of sitting watching through the morning. Not really a hell of a lot I can do there. And stock market, actually, I think we've talked to you guys a little bit about this recently. That's not the page I want to show you. Where is it? I guess over here. I mean, I guess we'll go through this. So there's the crude oil, as you can see, said no man's land, not part of my trading plan. So I couldn't really justify taking a trade. Here we are in the 4-hour chart zoomed out. Actually, this is the gold market, same sort of thing. I could short up top here. I could buy against that support line there. I could buy against these support lines here. I could buy against this trend line support and the moving average support in the ATR level here. I can short against this high up top here, but really preferably I'd like to be hunting shorts against this ATR level up top here. So it is kind of just like no man's land for me right now. So really not interested in doing anything there. As I showed you, the crude oil market, same sort of conversation. Could short when I first, wake up in the morning. As you can see, can short up here. So the market did run up to that level. I strapped on that sim trade like I just showed you. But because I didn't have divergence and I didn't have market structure, I couldn't do it like for reals on the combine that I'm running right now. And then I just sort of left it at that. I didn't actually get through the process. Got distracted. Had a really some very interesting conversations in our day trader room with a bunch of guys on the site, and didn't even really get around to doing stock market analysis. I suppose I could show you what it is that I would normally do. So if we look at the stock market, something along the lines of, not quite sure why we have this. Let's go weekly commodity trend survey, and then we'll pop on over to the stock market. Down 32 points on the ES. Now, this is actually what I would expect to see given a Fed announcement within the context of a bull market, where they're selling the rumor, and then when we actually have the Fed announcement, we'll get a buy the news. I suppose for the purposes of this conversation, we can put away all the sim stuff here. So, and also too, remember that our TRI breadth indicator for the stock market is not happy at all. So this is what I would expect, and I would expect that this thing starts to firm up once we get on the other side of the Fed. Maybe a few days of cajoling and stuff, but this is actually what I would expect out of a healthy stock market. I know it sounds a bit counterintuitive that we're going to sell off into the Fed because Wall Street is anticipating the worst, right? And maybe write this down. I think it's a lesson that I had to learn a million years ago. And it just goes, buy the rumor, sell the news, or maybe it's sell the rumor and then on the other side of the Fed, buy the news. So I think that's what's going on here, which of course, like I said, concerns me to a certain degree when we look at good old Bitcoin. Why are they bidding this thing up into this event? Interesting, I didn't do the Bitcoin futures update here this morning, but I think probably if I was going to against this candle peak high ATR level, I think we got a pretty good level. And actually also too, you notice, it's kind of interesting. I just noticed this now on the futures charts. There is a gap that needs filling in right there. Boom. And actually there's like a couple of them, but we'll use this upper one as a reference. And we will say gap line. So I get the impression that price would ideally like to get up into this level up here before we start hunting shorts. Also too, we want to keep an eye on the divs, actually see confirmed divs to start justifying moving on to step 3, which would be hunting shorts. So we're coming into trade location. Indicators still potential. Now there's a lot of them building, but they're not confirmed yet. And what I would expect is, especially since we are rallying like this, some sort of pop into that Fed announcement event and then roll over, especially if we can get like divs that actually confirmed here, roll over and then a correction following the Fed. My hunch is probably we're going to come back down and kiss this trend line from the other side, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. As it stands right now on the 4-hour chart, I mean, this is a megaphone, which means by definition, we should be looking for some sort of top up here. We've had 1, 2, definitely 3. So if, if anything, I would even, if you do trade the corn, I would watch for some sort of topping pattern right off of this megaphone line. It's probably going to set up a pretty good trade. And the interesting thing, of course, about the megaphone is that if it does fire our objectives, we have 2 objectives on the megaphone. So maybe write this down. First objective is usually a test of the midpoint of the megaphone. And notice how this low here and probably that low and that high, right? That to me looks like a pretty good midpoint of the megaphone, right? And we could even put on like our little icon here, right? There is your megaphone. So target number 1 is going to be a tag of the midpoint of the megaphone. It's kind of interesting how we have a gap notation here. That might be off a higher time frame reference. There is that trend line that I talked about that probably needs to be tested again. So my hunch is you're probably going to get some sort of pullback into the midpoint of the megaphone. And then if things really puke out, then we have to go down and test the bottom of the megaphone. And that might line up nicely with something like this level right over here. I could see something like that happen. That wouldn't shock me. So I guess the point here is that, yeah, we have the 200 SMA as resistance here on the 4-hour chart. And I think that did set up a trade for the traders. So they tag that, wicks and tails like to be eaten. So we rallied up into this level, candle body highs for trade location, which produced this trade, which wasn't bad. That's a fairly nice pullback here following that level. But then the market firmed up here, put in a little bit of a W, and then back up we go. And what was really interesting about all of this is if you actually go to, say, the spot market, it was fascinating to see this play out. Really good example of these fog and bombs and stuff. So there was the rally up into that 4-hour level that we talked about there just a moment ago. Beautiful M. We always say, what do you think when the market's smiling at you? Boom, back down we go. It's fascinating how we hit this 2.618 and came right back down into this reload zone. You could even write on here, it looks like there's some gaps that were filled in. Put in a bottom and then ratcheted right back up top and actually broke to new highs. So that should have been a little bit of a warning that maybe the bear's not really that in control here. And like I said, I think this was sort of like, we could say maybe even something like this was SEC FU to Binance, right? Something along those lines. And then I think what happened was, you might even say this bottom here all through this was how are we going to say this? Got to be politically correct, right? So I won't say anything too outlandish, but something like Judge said "fu" to SEC because from what I understand today, there was, or maybe it was late yesterday, a judge came out and said, "Shut up, Gensler. Jesus, you talk too much." And the Bitcoin price went ratcheting straight back up. Was interested to see what was going to happen through here, but I think your move to new highs was a little bit of a tell that maybe you should be a little bit cautious. Also, too, I'm not really the big fan. Big fan when I see. Anyway, it doesn't matter. When I see I'm gonna have to short there, and I have to risk all the way up to the top of this shooting star. Oh boy, that's a huge risk window. So that would have been a bit uncomfortable for me to hit that level there. And also, too, the short on that was actually even below the reload zone. So there were a couple tells that, maybe this is a bit iffy. I suppose if I was trading this in earnest, like what you love to see is when you get these railroad tracks and the market rallies right back up into the top and then gets bitch slapped back down, where we never got that. All we got was the rally back to candle body highs. And I would imagine some guys did short that, which is a pretty good level there. Did they take some profits on this move down into here? Maybe. This also, to me, it does look like a Wyckoff check, right? So you can see they brought the market back down into the original judge to SCC, Gensler, go screw yourself. And the market literally turned on a dime. Maybe that was the event where the judge said, go screw yourself, Mr. Gensler. I don't know. So this short here is a bit iffy. I will say that. And if anything, maybe this pullback into this original double bottom was a really good buying opportunity, which produced that. And your tell, and maybe the bear, you better, maybe temper your enthusiasm, was the fact that this thing actually went out and busted this original top here. I don't know. That's a tough one. But the point of the matter here, I suppose, right now, if anything, you don't want to see Bitcoin face ripping, rallying higher here into the Fed announcement tomorrow. That's usually not a good sign, right? Buy the rumor, sell the news, sell the rumor, buy the news. So I don't really like how crypto is as strong as it is right now. If anything, I'd almost prefer that it calm down a little bit. All right. So, what's your backdrop for today? Obviously, as we said there earlier, we've got Fed announcement. The general sentiment over the world seems to be, actually Canadian inflation data still came out pretty strong. It actually ticked up this morning. U.S. housing market, kind of not really gangbusters, not the way it used to be, that's for sure. So I think that sort of U.S. housing bull market is a bit tempered. Starts were off 11%. That was a pretty big drop. And I think that's got the stock market a little bit sort of worried. And if anything, hopefully, I'm almost leaning towards that the Fed is now ready to go on pause. And actually, it's interesting. I don't know quite why. But, I'm going to make a reference to an outside source here again. Was listening to Mr. Gammon once again. He seems to be doing a number of videos that I like recently. I think it's probably worth your while to tune in and at least listen to what he has to say. But if anything, he makes a good comment here in this video, and I suppose we'll share it in the lounge here. You can always find it. When will it happen? Answered, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. He made a really good reference here, I think, that usually the market rolls over somewhere between about 6 months to a year following when the Fed has actually finished raising interest rates, or basically goes on pause. So are we at that stage? Obviously, a lot of people are expecting FOMC to be on pause this time. There's also talk that maybe they'll raise again in November. But things with housing starts numbers coming off this, he's basically getting what he wanted out of this housing market down in the States. Building permits, fairly strong. So we'll see how this plays out. But that housing starts number, I think that really rocked the market. The red book, this is retail sales numbers coming in still pretty hot. That number should be, remember, we always, like they say, they want like 2% annual inflation rate. So if retail sales still coming in at 3.6, there's no way in hell they're going to be lowering interest rates anytime soon. So I get the impression that pause kind of idea makes sense, which means that, if they do go on pause, then we can sort of start the stopwatch, if that makes any sense. And like we said, somewhere between about 6 months and a year down the road, usually the something in the economy breaks. Actually, speaking of George, and I've been, of course, warning you guys relentlessly about this, but I suppose it helps having outside sources validate. Um, he did an interesting video here just the other day on how absolutely disastrous the situation in China is. And I actually really like the comparison. I teach all my students that we're going through 17 and a half year fear and greed cycles. And you could make the argument that the end of the greed cycle, say for the Western economies like 1928, 1929, I think you could make the argument that the exact opposite, the end of the fear cycle, would be the end of China's growth story, 2008, 2018, 2019. I think the similarities are shockingly identical. And I suppose we can give you this video too. So site members, I'll throw it in the lounge. Anybody watching free on YouTube, you can Google all this. So he's making the comparison that actually it looks like China's going to go into a Great Depression here over the next 5-10 years. And frankly speaking, I'd agree. I mean, there's nothing coming out of China right now that suggests even remotely that the nonsense of what we saw over the past 20 years could be replicated. In fact, they're actually now like literally tearing down all these buildings that they built. Now, that's not going to promote growth. That is regression, right? That's going backwards. And sadly, of course, the Chinese citizens, they're the ones that just got fucked over through all this. And I might argue that an entire generations of wealth was just basically stolen from them. And keep in mind, CCP, it's a mafia. So, I mean, it's organized crime. So, yeah, I mean, like literally an entire generations of wealth was stolen and funneled off to all the mafiosos. And now we're on the other side of this equation. And my hunch is that, this could be a challenging, decade ahead of us. The free, easy money of last decade, what sort of got Bitcoin going to crazy ass levels, I think those, and the way that altcoins, the silliness and those kind of crazy ass bull markets, I think those days are kind of over. I still think that there is money to be made in the market, but you're just going to have to be really selective. So, and just, try and learn all the stuff that we're trying to teach you at TRI. Buying reload zones, forcing yourself to buy down markets, all that kind of fun talk. So, a little bit of a filler day here today because, of course, we've got the FOMC meeting today. And if I'm not mistaken, actually, it should say here, maybe let's go 3, just so that show the actual Fed. So there we are. Tomorrow at 11 a.m. my time, we will have the Fed interest rate decision. My hunch is they're meeting now, and there's probably rumors and stuff coming out of the meeting of what they are planning on doing and all that kind of fun stuff. Don't expect cuts. If anything, it's just really a question of, does this pause part of the cycle now start? And if it does, then it means the stopwatch is starting, and it's just really a question of somewhere between the next 6 months and a year. Of course, we all know that in 2020, of course, this sickness was manufactured, and instantly they knocked the market down to almost like, crash scenario levels. And then they were able to justify lowering interest rates. You remember Bitcoin, right? That was basically, we are in this exact same part of the cycle. I think you could make the argument that we are basically right about here now. And we're going to go through a bunch of back and forth into the end of the year. There may be dumps, but at the same time, too, I don't think Bitcoin's going to finish appreciably lower on the year. We're probably going to be banging around the 25G level here into the end of the year. You know, this is this whole head and shoulders kind of conversation. I wouldn't be surprised if 25Gs is actually our floor here. But heading into sort of that, you know, remember we said 6 months to a year. So let's put ourselves maybe into like maybe next February. Could we see them knock the price of Bitcoin down here? And then, of course, we have the halving event. Well, that's exactly the same thing that they did here. So don't be shocked if you see this. Um, you know, well, I mean, does it even make sense how they can knock the price down like this and just so quickly? And of course, the whole damn stock market did exactly the same thing. As soon as you, and really, you know, I mean, your buy level is as soon as you start hearing guys start saying stupid things like, I will risk my life to save capitalism. Well, then you know the silly humans are overreacting. And just don't be that stupid person. And if anything, when you start hearing that kind of talk, and you start hearing about the Fed's going to lower rates, because of course they come in, start lowering rates in a panic. And then they'd start talking about, well, we got to pass legislation to, you know, print more money and all that kind of crap. Well, then you know that that's the bottom we're looking for, and get ready for the next cycle. Just understand, next 6 months going to be pretty bumpy in here, folks. Just keep that in mind. I think probably the last thing that I'll leave off with is, if you don't think that Bitcoin can lose 50% of its value in a very, very short period of time, well, you know, show you a little Twitter feed. I put this out yesterday. I thought it was interesting that Joey Diamond and all of his buddies are basically priming the market, right? So they're already sort of putting the official word out that you could very easily see Bitcoin lose 50% of its value, which would be very normal for Bitcoin, right? And this is the part of Bitcoin that people don't talk about. And they, you know, and crypto bulls and all that kind of stuff, they never want to mention this shit. But I've been in Bitcoin now for 10 years, and I know for certain Bitcoin loves when they juice this, they'll get everybody long and thinking all nice and bullishly, and then in like a 2 or 3 week period, they'll knock it down 50%. And it's that point, that's when you want to start going in hardcore and loading up the boat. So go slowly over the next 6 months. Okay, folks, please, for Uncle Brian, thank you very much. And my fancy hat. All right, why don't we leave the free video at that? Like we said, we've got FOMC tomorrow. If you are a fan of the channel and stuff, be sure to check out our free FOMC video. It's always a lot of fun to keep tabs of what Chair Powell's going to say, how many of the media reporters want to have Chair Powell's baby, and all those kind of fun jokes. But also, too, it's a really great lesson, and you never should trust the market through that first hour following the Fed announcement. And I'm just wondering, you know, is this kind of like a buy the rumor, sell the news scenario? So I don't even really want to get wrapped up too much in what I'm seeing out of price action here right now, because you might find in 2 days the whole damn story is completely reversed. So there you can see we've got our FOMC note. I don't like how they're bidding this thing up. In fact, are we starting to see overbought conditions? Not quite yet, but maybe in through tomorrow. Do we get really stupid again? Do we start getting bear divs? Does the buying volume start to back off? We haven't seen any of that yet, but that's what I'll probably be watching for as we head through this event over the next day or two. So just keep that in mind. All right, let's head on over and talk a little Pennacooks with Mr. Pennacook. That is about a half an hour, so I did pretty good keeping in time. Hope you got some value out of all this. Slow and steady wins race. Here's a nice little treat for you. I'm taking a good look. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to go up. Brian, of course, loves to little old lady buy a lot of these names, and I'm taking a real good look at things like OMG here. Look at that cute little W that's trying to form. Is there any money to be made on this if we do actually go into a bull market over the next year or two? I don't know. You tell me. There's your high up there into 2021 peak at 21 bucks. And here we are at 45 cents. I already did some nibbling through the winter. Obviously, this one a little bit early. This is why little old ladies have to act this way, is you're just going to slowly come in and nibble away. Now, keep in mind, this is a log chart. That's what the chart looks like regular. I don't mind nibbling away through this. What I was just waiting for was a half decent little W to come in to justify my acting, and you can see what's trying to happen here. So there's always a bull somewhere, and we're going to head off and hear from Sjord from why he loves this name so much, and where is he going to actually start taking some profits on his beautiful trade idea. And I probably should take note too, because up in this area, I better be ringing the register as well. So anyway. All right. Have yourselves a great day. PMA for the win. I guess we'll do a free video tomorrow morning, getting ready for the Fed. And then we'll have our Fed announcement frivolity video, which happens right around the Fed announcement time. Well, what a surprise. And then we'll do our Coinigy show tomorrow night. So lots of videos for you to look out for tomorrow. All right. Have yourselves a great day. All the best, and bye for now.